We reading from the first chapter, meeting your problems where you are. The way out of all of your difficulties lies in your consciousness. A glorious revelation awaits you when you discover that the spiritual way of getting is by letting go and not holding on, and that the practical method of attracting what you want from the outer world is by first finding it within yourself. It is hard for the bargaining material self to see any connection between an idea in the mind and an object in the world, and yet they are but two ends of the same thing. The object, whatever it may be, is simply the mind in extension. An idea materialized. Things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. That is why Jesus told us to seek first the kingdom of God, and why he taught his disciples to pray, Our Father which art in heaven. The only God we can ever know is the God of our own inner life, and the only place we can contact him is within ourselves. The Father within, he doeth the works. This is the principle upon which Jesus built his matchless life, and by which he did his mighty works. And it might be ours also, not just a human and limited sense of power, but a God-centered and limitless one. It is said that the 9/10 of the average man's life is lived in his environment on the surface, and this is largely true. He is therefore the victim of his surroundings instead of being the master of them. Maybe you have wondered at times why it was so difficult to control your destiny and circumstances. The answer is very simple. You cannot control anything so long as you are controlled by it. Now remember that. It is one of the keys to the subject matter of this book. You cannot control anything so long as you are controlled by it. Since your life and circumstances are made by the thoughts and impressions which are given free circulation through your mind, the obvious way to control them is to refuse to receive from the outside world those impressions which do not contribute to your highest good. In the field of metaphysical science, we classify all minds in one of two categories, the absorbent mind and the selective mind. The absorbent mind is like a blotter. It not only absorbs most everything in its environment, but is under the influence of its environment at all times. The selective mind, on the other hand, rejects what it does not want and selects that which it does want. The selective mind holds its environment by discrimination and choice, taking what it wants while the absorbent mind is molded by it. Thus, one of the secrets in controlling the environment is to be able to reject those impressions we do not want and to accept those which we do want. The successful mind must be both repellent and absorptive. It must be selective and receptive. The fundamental thing in spiritual works, as in anything else, is always receptivity, but it must be a guided receptivity to keep life in perfect balance and to keep the good flowing in. The mind must not only be receptive to the higher and better things, it must also be impervious to the lower and baser things. The command to sit thou at my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool means that we must think with God on the right side of the law until the power of the infinite comes into expression in us and difficulties in our lives have been removed. Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. How does a lily grow? Jesus says, by laborless activity. They toil not, neither do they spin. They grow by receptivity. As the bulb receives moisture and nourishment from the earth and air, it produces the blossom of the stem. The bulb can give out only what it takes in. If it does not receive what nature gives it, it does not grow. If it does not begin with receptivity, it does not begin. The man who puts nothing into his prayer will take nothing out. The man who does not build his consciousness up to his ideal will never realize it. The stern law of life says, open yourself to God or perish. Make room for the things above, or you cannot have the things below. The genesis of every demonstration is receptivity, and without receptivity, there can be no response to anything. Our greatest good will come to us then only as we respond to the things which we consciously select.